Morning. Good morning. I haven't decided which show I'm doing right now. I wanted to do Awakening Israel at this hour, first thing. I seem to be doing it last. So welcome to the Dr. Kent Show. It's the 6th of January. Isn't it wonderful? The day of insurrection. Yeah. Who was the insurrectionist? Friggin' Pelosi. And what did she do? She said somebody had to be sacrificed. And what did that cop say? Got it, ma'am. And what did he do? The woman wasn't trying to crawl through a window in the door. She wasn't even against the door. She was standing back a person. From what I saw, she wasn't even in the front. She just stood taller than the guy in front of her. And the black cop popped her in the forehead. It was murder. Cold-blooded murder. Hired murder. Hired by Nancy Pelosi. In the Bible, in the Apocrypha, it even uses the word sedition, referring to this time and this day. It's in there. It's in the original King James language. The word is sedition. And that sedition was against the people's house, against the Congress, by Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi is guilty of hiring that cop. And by the way, he was merely a lieutenant at the time. They promoted him. They made him a captain. They were so happy with him. I think we give him the death penalty. Unless he hands us over Nancy and admits she ordered him to do it. A generic kind of order. Somebody had to be sacrificed, is what I understand. Imagine that. Somebody had to be sacrificed. Like she was, what, the priest back when Jesus was going to be crucified? And the high priest said somebody had to be sacrificed? Yeah. Yeah. Let's get that right. She's a horrible, horrible person. Ashley Babbitt was no threat to anyone. The police officer, Lieutenant Michael Leroy Bird, lie in wait, picked her out, popped her in the head, and they reward him? You talk about being ruled by liars, murderers, thieves. I mean, look at that. Look, the only way you're going to get this country back is by digging your heels in. Oh, I look at Matt Gaetz. Getz, whatever it is. I think he's from Florida, congressman. My God, he looks like a child to me from where I sit. He looks, what the heck is he doing there? Shouldn't he be at home? I mean, he looks like a little boy to me. He's so innocent, and he's so dumb. Why is he dumb? He's never read the Bible. He doesn't understand what he's up against. He doesn't understand the evil he's dealing with. Maybe I'm the one that's naive. Maybe he knows. But I have to applaud him. Do not give the house to Mitch's bitch. Look. It says in the Constitution. Now, I'm not saying that McCarthy could not do the job, but it would be like having a continuation of Nancy Pelosi. And I'd just as soon burn the building down than do that. But we may get the whole country burned down because of those jackasses in D.C. Ditch Mitch's bitch. And Mitch's bitch is McCarthy. I thought about calling him because I realize he's actually made a lot of concessions. But I'm not going to make a deal with the devil. Certainly not that devil. I think you hold those concessions over to whoever it is you're going to appoint. Oh, by the way, you all asked me who the Nazis are in Washington, D.C. Dan Crenshaw from Texas is a friggin' Nazi. Word Nazi. Listen to him threaten anybody who doesn't vote for McCarthy is a terrorist. Look, Crenshaw, you're a treasonous rat bastard, and you need to go home. You don't deserve to be a congressman. Now, I'll tell you what I want for Congress. I hope you go with me on this. Number one, no more pay and no more benefits. Do you understand? Congress was designed, no benefits, no pay. And because of that, we didn't need term limits. They argued about it. They settled it a couple hundred years ago. No pay and no term limits. That's right. No pay, no benefits, no retirement, no medical benefit. You take away everything from them. They've been bad. Congress is going to be our bitch. That's the way it has to be. We have to rule them. You take away all pay. And that's one concession right there. I want a constitutional Congress. That's required. Now, I'll give them a franking privilege. And I'll give them a per diem, a simple per diem, not to cover, but to defray the costs. In other words, it's a per diem to take care of meals and lodging while in service to the country, and for that day only. And it's not for a partial day served. It's not for a day that the Congress is in session and you're not there. You're only going to get it if you show up for the whole day. And you're only going to get it if you don't miss a vote. Another concession is nobody gets to vote for anybody else. If you aren't healthy enough, then go the fuck home. And if you can't afford to support yourself, go the fuck home. Do you understand? Do you understand that we didn't need it? A congressman was giving his time, was volunteering his time for his country. He wasn't supposed to be a professional leech, a goddamn parasite. He was supposed to volunteer his time. And when he could no longer afford to support himself, he was expected to go home, and somebody else would take his place. I want a constitutional Congress. No more pay for Congress. No more benefits. Here's my next concession. I do not want any more insider trading. We have to make it illegal, punishable by as much as death, life in prison, confiscation of all your shit, all your wealth. No more insider trading. I got another concession for you. I want to return to honest money. The Congress screwed us up and stuck us with this Jewish money, this fake shit. And they helped them manipulate it. Now, you boys and girls out there are going to say, my God, they're fighting inflation. No, they aren't. Bunch of liars and thieves. They are not fighting inflation. That interest rate has nothing to do with inflation. I'll tell you what I would like to see. I'd like to see that there be a required 5% interest on savings. On a simple savings account, I want to see 5%. It's the way it was when I was a little boy. That would encourage people to save. However, we need a return to honest money. Coin, gold, and silver. Issued by the United States Mint. That's the law of the land. That's a simple concession. I'd like to go further. I'd like to demand concessions from them on as far as the Senate goes. I'd like to see them actually demolish the 17th Amendment and restore the Republic. How does that work? Well, I'll tell you how it doesn't work. When you let the senators be elected directly by the people, it doesn't work. Why? because the state governments are no longer represented. It was the state governments that signed the Constitution. They were the parties of the Constitution. And today, they're not represented, and you expect it to work well? Oh, hell no. You end up with jackasses like McCain that stick you all with Obamacare, which is basically a death grip on the country. They grab you by the throat with that one. You're stuck with it for a while. Remember the concession before to get rid of Obamacare? The Chi-Coms have bought and owned this country. Let's face it, they won the war. Where's my hat at? My hat has a label inside of it. My brother gave it to me. It was my dad's hat. He wore it when he was out fishing. It was in the picture. He was wearing that in one of the last pictures of him. And he went out fishing. And he never recovered from the fishing trip. It was too much for him. I miss him. Look, I'm just trying to save my nation. I'm just trying to save my country. Maybe you don't like it. Well, a nation is a people, an ethnos, and they're destroying us as fast as they can. This Democratic Party is not very good, but the Republicans, I mean, they betrayed us. They betrayed us too many ways. No more deals. No. McCarthy that bitch moved into the Speaker of the House office. He's acting like a Democrat. He's made you a bunch of lies just like they all do. I mean, it's nice that you got those concessions. You boys are just getting started. And Kevin McCarthy said last fall, are you going to make history together? Yes, Kevin, you're going to make history. Shut this government down. No Speaker of the House for 90 days. Look, I feel like going radioactive. You got to be careful when I say that, folks. Radioactive. I'd love to be back on the radio. Get that microphone there. A little bit of a boost in the bass, the bottom end. You know, more manly sound. Of course, being a man is illegal in this godforsaken country today. You women out there, you ladies are no longer ladies. I regard you as female. I'm sorry, but that's all you are. You aren't not many women out there. Don't get me wrong. I got one or two friends, that's female friends, and they're okay, but you got to keep them at arm's distance. And you got to put them in their place. Otherwise, they're going to do this crap to you. They're going to shit all over you and squawk about it, and they're going to take you down and rip everything you got off. These courts are not fair to a man. They haven't been fair for a long time. Women have literally been getting away with murder. Yes, they get away with murder. That Black Widow stuff happens a lot more than what you think. And by the way, when I was a little boy, a man would get the death penalty. And what did a woman's typical sentence, what was her sentence for when she murdered? 7 years. That was it. Yeah, it's a man's world, right? I wake up in the middle of the night. I get up. I try to give you something on tape here. I want you to like my video. I want you to subscribe. My subscribership is just getting started. It's got to pick up. I like the comments. I appreciate it. I don't keep up with them very well. I'm not computer literate hardly anymore, or app literate, or whatever the hell they've got going on these websites. But I can tell you, I'd like to respond and look into all the comments. But I got 2 channels, and that made it confusing for me. And I got a YouTube app that seems to be linked up with one channel, and I've got 2 email addresses. I thought they were linked to each other, but I guess it's all on the same one, on the same email address. So I'm confused by it. I am. I can't I can't keep up with that. I got to take care of my own stuff. McCarthy, if I was to advise the boy, I'd tell him, humble yourself. And you might as well take the loss, because it's going to be a loss. You made yourself Mitch's bitch. You violated the Constitution in such a major way it is not forgivable. Screw you, McCarthy. Kevin, you can go to hell. What did you do? You're the one that stood by and let that 1.7 trillion omnibus bill, whatever the hell, go through. Mitch wouldn't have been able to get it through without you. And we're pissed. As far as inflation goes, that doesn't happen when they change the interest rate. That doesn't do anything to the inflation rate. The inflation rate, it makes it go up, actually. It does not control it. Kills the economy. So they say they throttle back demand by doing that. I got news for you. The inflation is caused by your federal government, your congressional spending, thieving from the past, diminishing the value of my fixed income on my retirements, and robbing from the future, stealing from children and grandchildren, and enslaving them. Yeah, McCarthy, you're working for Pharaoh. You're enslaving the rest of us. You made yourself Mitch's bitch, and this is the loss. This is the price you're going to pay. And I would tell you, humble yourself. Get the hell out of the way. Give us a national apology. And admit your sin. Admit your crime. Your crime is you violated the Constitution. You violated your oath of office. And you should be marched off, never to have office again. All money bills, all budget stuff, the purse strings, it's all held by the Congress. And you empowered that son of a bitch, Mitch McConnell, Ditch Mitch. That's what we're going to call him from now on, is Ditch Mitch. You empowered him so he could do that to the country. You couldn't wait until the majority took their seats. You had to ruin the next 5 years. And by the way, well, all those assets out there that people have are going to go up in value now. The hard assets, because of your inflationary act. Boy, the cost of eggs is going to go doubling again. And the inflation rate was only at 25% a year, you liars and thieves in Washington, D.C. It was only running 25% for the last 2 years. It's going to go higher now. And we just saw the bottom of the energy market. $2.99 gasoline. I can't believe I'm happy with that price. I only got one tank, not even a full tank at that, at $2.99. It's gone up twice since then. It's going to go screaming up from here, boys and girls. That's what your United States Congress gave you with that omnibus bill. In case you're wondering, right now your Department of Defense is waging war against you. They're making it look like they're going against Russia in the Ukraine. No, that war is against you and me. They regard us as carbon that needs to be eliminated, remember? They want to reduce global warming, so they have to get rid of carbon. All life on the earth is carbon-based. They want to get rid of you and I. And as far as these comments saying there's no basis for what I'm saying, no claims, you assholes out there don't know jack shit. I have been reading for years, decades. I have been studying, and I don't know much. But what I do know is the earth recycles itself. And I know that the earth has cycles to it. The 12,000-year one, it's about what it is. We're coming up on it real fast. As a matter of fact, that's why the insanity is increasing. It's going to get worse. It was prophesied. It's predicted. These guys in these religions have been fed stuff from Command Central for a long time. So they know. So they can tell you what's going to happen. Yes, people are going to go insane. Much more insanity. Why? Right now, the Earth's magnetic field is about 85% normal strength and dropping. It is going to drop much quicker, and we will get down to 5%. We might go below that. And all hell's going to break loose, especially on the surface. And it goes into the ground as well. What happens? Well, basically, the electrical charges change all over the place, and it goes nuts. You know that Jewish menorah? You know, those arms that go up and all that shit. And they say it's from the temple, or some sort of story about the oil, that there wasn't enough oil and it lasted all night, or whatever that good old thing is. It's not a Jewish symbol. For those of you out there who will follow the other channel, it's not an Israelitish symbol either. It comes from the displays when the electrical charges are going through the earth so strong that it destroys all electronics. It's rough on us. We have to go underground. By the way, this oil stuff, it's going to be replaced big time. There's going to be a lot more oil after this event than what there is right now. It's what is created during those events. So all those reservoirs, all that stuff happens again. It's like an insulator, and the earth has to have it. So it will form. It ain't made out of no damn fossils. You stupid people out there. You let them bullshit you, and you walk around parroting their stuff like, what's fossil fuel? We're going to run out. Oh, can you imagine? I mean, no, it's not fossil fuels. It's more like a mineral. And the earth makes it all the time. They go back to those really nice wells. Those later, they get more oil out of the same damn well. Look, one of the biggest wells in the world is in Alaska, my home. I want it drilled. There's enough oil in that one well to provide the country with all of its oil supply for 300 years. One well. Now, that pipeline won't carry it all. The pipeline has about a 20% capacity for our national needs. And I don't think we need that much anyway, because the technology that they've been killing people over, that they've been, you know, if you help other people by helping them get their car running on water, they kill you. If you go in business, that's when they take you out. Otherwise, if you do it for yourself, you're okay. You can get by with that. And some of these carburetors, oh my God, did you realize there's an intake for a diesel engine that burns so damn clean, you get 20 times the mileage, 20 times the energy out of it? Could you imagine these big trucks, instead of getting 3 miles to the gallon, all of a sudden get 60 miles to the gallon? Could you imagine in your cars? I mean, the technology's there, but they won't let us have it. And by the way, you can put that on all the engines in existence from what I can tell. And Stanley, they poisoned him. They murdered him a long time ago. He figured out how to run on water. He actually got it advanced to the point where he actually had a spark plug kit. Basically, you put it in the existing engine and you convert it over to run on water. Yeah, they had to kill him. Yeah, he wouldn't sell out. We need to take the Congress back. The Congress is the most powerful branch of government. They are not co-equal. They're nowhere near close. The weakest branch of government is supposed to be the Supreme Court, subservient particularly to the Congress. And it's not a lifetime appointment. Read the Constitution. While under good behavior, and the B in behavior, that letter B is capitalized. These jackasses in office, none of them have got totally good behavior. They all should go. And by the way, that doesn't mean good behavior on the job. That means all the way around. That means you don't show up on the Lolita Express and go hang out with Jeffrey Epstein on his island. All the pay and benefits are established by the Congress for the Supreme Court. Senators. A concession? Oh boy. No more federal pay and benefits for senators. Except maybe the franking privilege, and we pay to keep the lights on in the office. I don't know about their staffs. You know, that's something that other people can deal with, but what I want to deal with is this. The senator needs to represent the state government. Who's he working for? The state government. Who should foot the bill? Excuse me. His state government. His state government should foot the bill. Whatever salary and benefits they deem appropriate needs to come from the people he's working for. That'll help knock some out of the federal budget as well. We have to return to the original 13th Amendment, the separation of powers. You don't have much of a choice. That really is the law of the land. It was passed, and with good reason. The attorneys got us into the War of 1812, the Bar Association members who have a divided allegiance and who rule America on behalf of the crown back in Great Britain. Is that what we want to call home? I think we cut those apron strings once and for all and ditch the British at this point. They've been treating us really badly. They manipulate the hell out of us. They get us into stupid-ass wars. They're horrible people. Those royals aren't even entitled. They're not even the descendants of the royal line. They got in there somehow a century or so ago, 2 centuries ago. The real King of England may still be alive. The gentleman in Australia, sheep rancher. He's the one that's supposed to be your king. Princess Diana, they were jealous of her. She had more of a legal right to that throne than the Queen did, and they knew it. I need you to buy my Bibles and sit down and read them. If you want your nation back, you got to use Yahweh. You got to turn to Yahweh. You got to call out the Creator Father for relief. And you have to abide by those commandments, those ordinances, all that stuff. Oh, don't get me wrong. Some of it's a little out there. How you do your sacrifices and stuff. That's kind of weird stuff. But as far as the 10 Commandments, our laws were built on that. We need to return to that. And as far as what's going on right now in the country, you need to look at the Old Testament. The Assyrians, what were they famous for? They were the first nation to put together, I can't remember the term. It's basically where you fight several levels at one time. So there's several different components going on. So they actually took the art of war to a much higher level. You need to understand that's what the enemy has done here. Also, the Assyrians, when they went in, they settled Samaria with other peoples. Different races, mind you. So that's why the Samaritans stood out, is because they were a different color. They were a mixed population. And that's why the Israelites didn't want anything to do with them. In part, they put incompatible peoples in there, just like they're doing here, to weaken our nation. It weakens us. It does not strengthen us. And the Democrats do it purposely to throw things in their direction, and the Republicans help them. No, we need a moratorium on all immigration for at least 2 decades, 20 years. Used to be 10 years would do it, but now I'm thinking we need 2 decades minimum just to sort out what we already have here and to figure out what we're going to do, what's constitutional, what's legal, what's beneficial for us. That's okay, folks. When this war lets loose, the people that are in this country that really don't belong here are going to leave anyway. It's not going to be nice. It's going to be bad. You see, the rest of the world actually hates your ass right now. Nobody loves you out there. Why don't they love you? Because you don't even know what the hell your country's about. You don't know what you're doing abroad. I don't know what we're doing abroad. Do you know how many wars we're probably fighting right now that we don't even know about? The Congress probably doesn't even have control over that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the communists took over. The corporations. Oh, you're head of your secret police. Probably Eric Schmidt. The guy who owns Google, basically. He's probably the head of the secret police right now today. Then you have Ahmadi, or whatever his name is, that jackass that pretends to be looking out for people's electronic rights and privacy rights. He's another traitor. I mean, these folks need to be rounded up. And who's the head of BlackRock? He's another jackass that's taking this country down. And this Congress is just out there to distract you and keep you busy so you won't look at these folks. You certainly won't be looking at the international bankers. Yeah, you let them take you down. Oh, and I think Ron Paul's idea of taxing them retroactively 105% of their profits since their inception is a good idea. We need to process that bankruptcy because they stole everything. They defrauded us of all that stuff. I hope, but I'm probably wrong. They'll probably vote McCarthy in today thinking they won something. By the way, Dan Crenshaw's not just a Nazi, he's a fucking racist too. He refused to vote for that black man in Florida. What the hell's wrong with him? I know in the country of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. Yeah, I know he gave his eye up for his country, but he's screwed up at this point. He needs to be removed from office. A lot of these congressmen need to be removed. I mean, those people who are giving this hate speech to those who are doing what they're supposed to do, which is trying to get the People's Congress back and trying to save this nation. Those people like Crenshaw need to be perp-walked, in my opinion. He's a frickin' traitor. He has betrayed his country, betrayed his oath, betrayed the people, because he's going to call us terrorists. Oh, they're terrorists. As far as he's concerned, go back to Texas. We don't want you. We don't need you, Crenshaw. I'll probably do a separate video on that because I really want to bring your attention to that. You folks ask me who the Nazis are. You need to understand functional analysis. I learned it in music school. Functional analysis means how does it function? Not what it's named, not like the whatever it was, Inflation Reduction Act, which actually is the opposite. It's going to cause more inflation. I'm tired. I'm tired of what's going on. I don't think you're tired enough yet. You're willing to put up with the bullshit and believe that you're in the freest nation on earth, the greatest nation on earth. I got news for you. They got more cameras in the United States than the Chi-Coms have in their country. Welcome to the beast system, where the one eye, seeing all eye, got you all covered. Oh, and then what about, free speech? Would that not be a concession? And they're going to lie to you because it will be stopped. It'll be stopped in that Senate. And Mitch, the bitch, needs to go. He did not handle that election properly at all. He mismanaged the election and lost the Senate. And he should have had more seats in the Congress, in the House. Mitch has got to go by the wayside. Any son of a bitch who walks in and says, the most important thing is the war in the Ukraine. Who the hell said that? It's not important to me. The important thing is get the hell out of there. The important thing is apologize to Mr. Putin and admit your goddamn stupid sins. Barack Hussein Obama did it. Oh, and you want to know where Nazis are. You want to know where Nazis are. Did you know Adolf Hitler's children survived and had children? Grandchildren? As far as I know, there are 4 of them. 4 grandchildren in the world today. So, would they be Nazis? I hate the term Nazi. If you follow me at all, you know that I do not like that derogatory term. Matter of fact, when the coin dealer in Houston accused me of calling him the N-word, that's the word that came to mind. He's a lying son of a bitch. I didn't use the N-word. Oh my God. Yeah, I've used it. I really don't give a shit what you all think about that stuff out there. But it probably would get me a strike here, so I won't do it. Because we know about black privilege. They're the only one that can call each other, you know, the N-word. I thought maybe he might have said, I called him a Negro. The crazy-ass thing is, I didn't even know he's black. I didn't care. As far as I know, he was a numismatic expert, one of the big 3 in Houston, and my illustrious accountant insisted I do business with him. And the worst thing, well, it's not the worst thing I ever did, but it ranks up there in the top 5. You know, I've lost my family inheritance from that. It's a pretty bad deal. Anyway, I don't know what the truth is, what happened on that stuff. All I know is that I got a bunch of cockroaches and I lost about 80 pounds of coins, gold and silver coins. Yeah, just 80-something frickin' pounds, mind you. Not 80 coins, 80 pounds. The value of which my father spent out of his hard-earned tax, whatever, after he paid taxes, he spent 175 grand cash across his life. His life was long. So across a 70-year period of his life, he made it to 91, I think it was. Yeah. Across 70 years, maybe just a little more than that. He accumulated that, and I got it all screwed up. I did. I don't like myself much for that. That's in the Texas courts. I don't care much for Texas at this point. I'm not going to do much with Texas. I mean, those people think they're great and they're free, and they got one of the biggest state governments and got some really weird laws down there. And the people in Texas, the mayor's office in Houston, the woman there told me, you're in Texas now. You have to abide by, and it was horrible. It's like, okay, so it's okay to deprive me of my property? Oh, and I mean, it's just not a fair deal. Anyway, I got to go a little bit shorter on this thing. It's a little too long. Like this thing, subscribe to it. Hit that link down below. There's 5 different formats of the Bible available. Call up the publisher, order it over the phone, do it the old-fashioned way. If the price doesn't end in 77 cents, then ask for that, because that'll be the lowest price you're going to get anywhere. On top of that, ask to be put on the list, the waiting list for a copy of the Apocrypha books. You will find the United States of America in the Apocrypha in 2 Esdras 11. It's a continuation of basically the stuff that started with Daniel, and it was Ezra who did that. Ezra was much more of a prophet than I ever realized. You want your country back. I'm sorry, they're not going to let you have it back. You are going to have to shoot your way out of this one. And it's going to be horrible. It's going to be local gunpowder stuff, lead flying in the air, copper-jacketed bullets. Now do you understand why your government, under Big Sister Janet Napolitano, ordered up millions of rounds of hollow point ammunition? It's not legal to use hollow point in a war. You can't even use that in war. But that's what the government ordered up. Millions of rounds. And they're arming up these new IRS agents with P90 machine guns. We're not even allowed to own them. You and I can't get any kind of a license or get a tax stamp or anything. We're not allowed to have them, but these IRS agents are going to have selectable fire full auto machine guns that have 50 rounds in the magazine. 50 rounds, that's right. And we're giving that to Internal Revenue Service agents. We're giving that to accountants. It's an evil system. And your Department of Defense is waging a biological war against you and psychological war like you would not believe. The psychological war is probably the worst part about it. The censorship is just off the charts. Any of these countries, any of these corporations that have censorship, their assets should be seized, their boards should be jailed, and we should just take them apart. We actually should not have any corporations in the United States of America. Our founding fathers never would allow it. First, a corporation did not occur until after the Civil War, except for the one Ben Franklin started that lay fallow until Abraham Lincoln became president. Don't hold me to that. That judge that's up in Big Lake, Alaska, out there, she claims some sort of judgeship through the Vatican, which means I don't trust her. And she's always wanting people to give her money, and they owe her money because she's their government protecting them. She and her friends talk about, yeah, that's right. You've got to give her some money. You owe her. I'm sorry. You know, stay out of Big Lake and leave us alone. You know, I understand. You work at it and you reveal stuff. Well, fine, then go into business, hire yourself out, charge an hourly wage, earn your keep like everybody else. You got talents. It's going to get pretty ugly when society collapses. And before that happens, your police are going to be shooting at you. That's what happened in South Africa. We did that to South Africa. So you can go look at what happened to South Africa. It's the same people behind the scenes running it, ruining it. It's communists. They've taken over here. They've won. It's a communist nation. You know, we're owned by the Chi-Coms. The Chi-Coms put their boy into the White House. That's a Chi-Com agent right there. Don't worry about the Russians and Donald Trump being a Russian agent. The crazy thing is the Democrats are working for the Chi-Coms and have been for decades. And there's a bigger evil behind all that, of course. Well, welcome to the fight between good and evil, folks. Are you going to stand up for America? Or are you going to just take it? Yahweh bless America.